Hey gang, good morning. Hope you're having a great week. Just thought I'd shoot out a couple thoughts I'm having as I'm just praying through and journeying through this season. I'm in this study called Invest in a Few. We're doing this with our church, and there's this statement in here I thought I'd read to you. It's a little long, but I thought I'd read to you, and I think it's particularly I guess relevant to the time we're in, especially as we start kind of opening things up and kind of getting back to whatever that new normal looks like. But this statement is, we're looking at here for the week, the cost of comfort. We're looking at what it means to make disciples, and in our case, it's disciples of Jesus. And so, but this is his statement. It says, there are always those who want to follow Jesus and invest their lives in a powerful way, but the timing is never quite right. You might say, when I get out of high school and I'm not so busy, then I'll serve Jesus. Or when I get out of college and the heavy demands of my time lighten, then I'll follow Jesus. That turns into whenever I get married and settle down, or whenever I have children and my life is more rooted, or whenever I'm out of this busy stage of life, or whenever the kids are out of the house, or whenever I get to retirement, or whenever I'm not on a cruise. You see, every stage of life expects that the next stage will provide more time to live for Jesus, but that's simply not true. The time to live for Jesus is now. And so I think, guys, as we look at going back to life, whatever that means, for many of us, that means going back to work every day. That means sports opening back up. That means we're heading into summer, so that means like trying to get back to vacations and all of the busyness, the hustle and bustle of life. I just want to encourage us to pause for a second and remember what life was like before COVID-19. And I know for myself and for many of my friends, it was extremely busy and extremely hectic and extremely stressful. And I know that there were even times where I'm praying like, God, can you just help me slow down? I'm doing too much. And I heard that from others and my friends is, we're just running too fast. What are we doing? And so an outcome of this for me has been, let's pray through what do we need to add back into our life. And so, and then when I start thinking about that, as I think about coaching people through this process, I think about priorities. And there's an illustration that I've seen people do where you take a bucket and you have different size rocks and you try to get all the rocks in the bucket, and it's from big rocks to little pieces of sand. And if you start with the sand, which really represents these little bitty things, I wake up and I just watch TV, or I just surf the internet, or I do these little inconsequential things that are little bitty bits of moments. I put those in first, and then I put my next biggest rocks in, then I put my really big life rocks in. You end up with you don't have enough room. But what that illustration shows is if you'll go back with the big rocks, with the big life priorities. So for me, it's family. It's how am I investing and loving in my family? How am I pursuing my relationship with Jesus? How am I growing in that? How am I loving my neighbor? How am I engaging in church life, in my church family, the covenant community that God has given me? Those are some big rocks that have to be in my bucket first. And then once I get those in there, it's amazing how God helps me then to navigate what other rocks need to go in there. And then you put the next size rocks in, you get those in there, and then you can eventually pour the sand in, and it fills in all the cracks. And you end up being able to get more in your life when you work from those priorities than you would if you just let things go and just let things go back to the way they were. So it's my prayer as we move in and get back to normal, whatever that looks like, that we would take some time and really consider, and as you consider it by yourself, maybe bring somebody else into that conversation, at least your spouse if you're married, or somebody from your family, or a good friend. Bring somebody into that conversation and say, if I were to take what I've learned over this time and this season, going from where I am, where we've been isolated in our house, focused on family or just myself or whoever's here, if I were to look a year from now, where do I want to be? Or maybe 5 years from now, where do I want to be? What does my life need to look like? And how do I not get back to that crazy, stressed out, anxiety-filled life? And I know this, I'm talking to many people that know Jesus, and I know Jesus through his Holy Spirit helps us in this area. If you don't know Jesus, I do know that you're going to go right back to this harried life of trying to live life on your own, without a true kind of compass to guide you, without somebody that's helping you through that. And so I hope that one of those big rocks can be a relationship with Jesus. and I'd love to help you figure that out and understand what that means. But you can look into that on your own and holler at me. I'd love to help with that. But so as we move forward, these are just some thoughts for today. Hopefully it's encouraging. Hopefully, I think the rain's held off a little bit this morning. I'm going to go out and cut the grass and try to get it in between storms. But hope you guys have a great day and rest of the week. See you later.